Joe, you remember our famous episode, The Wife Pentacle, about wife posts? You remember wife posts? You've heard of those, right?
I do. I think that was when I misunderstood how a spell works on a garage door. Yeah, I remember that.
You thought that he had written it on his own garage door.
To keep out wife emailers.
Yeah. So you'll recall that one of the 5 posts in the Wife Pentacle, our famous episode, was not exactly one single post, but rather a posting career of a poster known as L.O. Hell, who was a funny lady poster.
Who turned out to be a guy pretending to be his wife, right?
Yeah, he was pretending to be his own wife, and then his wife was like, we're getting divorced. Also, in the divorce, I would like my face on the internet back. You can't be me now still. And it was the funniest shit in the universe.
Yeah, and that's the end of that chapter. It's over.
Yeah. I mean, there was a few like funny little footnotes that like even after the whole foofara, there were still like every once in a while that account would post again. And it'd be like, this MF are addicted to posting. I can't believe it. But like, obviously that was the end of the story. Like that's a silly footnote. The end was the end, and that's it. And there's no more developments, right?
That's not what you told me. You told me some interesting shit.
Yeah, no, I just teased. I did a fake setup, folks, because I knew all along that I had a tasty treat for you. So what happened was, a listener who has chosen to remain anonymous for reasons I really respect, got in touch with us on the Anime Sickos account, sent us a message being like, hey, just got turned on to your podcast by a friend of mine, really enjoying it, very funny, keep it up, you guys. And I'm like, this is the best day of my life, I love this. I mean, praise.
I'm going to heaven now.
yeah, all my sins are gone, I can't sin now, I'm the president actually, Donald Trump is dead. So this listener then continued saying, actually, I was really excited to hear you talk about L.O. Hell in the wife posting episode because my partner is L.O. Hell now.
So when you first told me that, I thought the partner was the original fake wife poster, is what I thought. Which,
there was like there was a second of panic where I thought the same thing, and that they were going to be like, anyway, how dare you impugn my partner? How dare you? The way that you said that he was a dumbass made me furious. But then I'm like, wait, no. The listener said that they liked it. There's more to this. So to be clear, what happened was L.O. Hell, the original guy, the guy who was pretending to be Gretchen, when this whole thing went down, he wasn't addicted to posting. He was ready and willing to give up the game. And what happened was this listener's partner, who is, I gotta tell you, like one of the great posting heroes of all time, got in touch with L.O. Hell and said, buddy, give me the account. And the guy said, sure.
This to me counts as activism because you are like preserving something.
Yes, this is archivist work. That it's thankless work that you do in the background, but if someone doesn't do it, then you forget your heritage.
Yeah, and also we should be thankful because we have this very good wife posting episode, and now we don't have to live in fear that like the evidence of one of them will get nuked beyond.
Yes, because all the Andy Richter, who was one of the 5 points on our wife pentagram, he deleted all of his posts about being a wife guy, about being a divorced guy who ate the divorce fruit.
About
That's
washing his son's huge feet. I remember that too. Yeah.
And make a big pot of chili so that my huge son can watch Game of Thrones with his scary friends. That's gone. But what's not gone is LOL's account because of this posting hero. And here's really, beyond just the archivist work that this person is doing, which, to be clear, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
One of the reason they are a posting hero is because I bought it. Like, I completely bought that LOL, when they made their posts, was a extremely contrite, depressed, defeated, divorced man who was so addicted to that sweet ambrosia that he knows he'll never have again that he like hoists his corpse back onto the Twitter platform and tries to like do his dance, but he's like, no, all my limbs fell off because I died, and then just slides back into obscurity. I believed it 100%. Like, there are posts. I have one here. This is a genre that just is killer. There's like a handful of these, but this is, I think, the example. LOL has screen capped a DM from a user who was a fan of the account in its heyday who did not know about the whole deal. And they write to LOL, "Where are all your followers? I'm so confused. This is one of my favorite Twitter accounts." And the caption on this screen cap is, "Fuck. What do I even say?"
So I was under the impression that was from the original person. So what this means is that we are in the presence of a master.
Yes. A fucking genius, dude. Of just joke construction and voice and tone.
And correctly understanding that this is a person you can forever joke about with like a forever slide into a dignity-free existence. I can't get over that this person was so compelled to post jokes as their wife, but when given the opportunity to stop, they were like, "Oh, I'm done." Like, to me, that was behavior that indicated a harmful addiction to posting. But I guess you can just go cold turkey like that if you get the opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, that's inspiring, but not really. So one thing, so when I learned about this for a second, I thought that I was going to be disappointed that these sort of last gasps of the post-revelation LOL were not actually the guy. They were some jokester making funny haha jokes in character. But then it occurred to me, this account from day one has had fraud baked into the concept. So actually, if it was any other way...
Yeah. Yes. The best thing that could happen to it at this point is that if it's like a Malaysian bot network.
Oh God! So that's your new update on the LOL saga. To our anonymous listener and their anonymous partner,
thank you for your service.
Yeah, really, you're the amount braver than the troops you are is literally incalculable.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Anime Sickos. It's the podcast for geniuses and the only podcast in which we look at the four pillars of modern misery: anime, gaming, posting, and jobs. I'm Tom, an anime sicko.
I am Joe, an anime sicko. So, let's just round up here. It's been a year of pandemic times.
Yeah, it feels like a lot more.
Yeah. And that feeling will never go away.
Mm-hmm. Even when it ends, I'll constantly be having dreams where halfway through I realize that in the dream no one has been wearing a mask, and I'll just feel like a wave of dread that makes me constantly wake up in terror, and then I'm like, wait, it was a dream. I never went there, and I'll go to sleep and I'll start having the dream again, and then realize I'm not wearing a mask in the dream and wake up. You see what I mean?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to having like a low-key panic attack anytime I step into a grocery store for the rest of my life. That's fine. That'll be fun. That's just the new thing. But I was thinking, like, okay, we came up with the podcast
100 years ago.
100 years ago, we had this idea of how life was constructed. We had the four pillars. We had anime, gaming, posting, and jobs. And I wanted to maybe reassess, like, what control do those pillars have over us now that we've been in the pandemic for a year. So we've stepped out of the hyperbolic time chamber, right? So we're different now. My posture is much worse.
We have done a ton of training over this quarantine, and now we are proud to announce that when we swing a child's toy squeaky hammer, we are able to impart enough force on it that it actually does do the squeak. We couldn't do that before.
Yeah, like before, we would put our 4 hands on it and we would swing together. No squeak.
Yeah, no, it would just the little accordion part would not go in. It just didn't happen. But now we can make that squeak,
and we can do that independently. Like, we're strong enough to make it squeak by ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, like half the time. If we do the fusion dance, we can make it squeak all the time. But like even alone, like I could probably like give me like 3 tries, you're getting a squeak for sure. So the 4 pillars, obviously, they stayed just as strong and heavy as before, and like definitely like nothing bad happened, right? Like while we were training, like right.
Shit's fucked. It got worse. So speaking personally, the part of me that's like, don't endlessly consume manga, like do other stuff. That part's kind of gone away. I want the cartoons in my head, but I'm also like too impatient to watch anime now, so I need to like quickly scan the fucking manga scans. Like, that's to me the efficient way. I wasn't that impatient before.
Holy shit, I'm glad that you're saying this out loud, because like I've been feeling this and I have nowhere to like complain about it. Like, there are so many anime that I want to watch, so many series that I like, and I have access to them. Either they're like on streaming services that I have access to, or I found some files that I thought were legal files, but turned out they were anime. I had no way of knowing. I definitely didn't go looking for them, and I just have them. And it's like the idea of sitting in the same spot and looking at the same thing and not sort of like pacing and constantly dividing my attention. It's just like, how does that happen? Like that can't happen.
I fully understand how reality TV took off, because like the only thing I have like mental agility for is fucking watching Great British Bake Off. Like that's like the moving narrative that I'm.
To be clear, that's anime. That's a tournament.
It is.
Did they do a pudding week what? I don't know what series you're watching. Did they do the week where they had to make a boiled pudding in a bag?
No, I don't know what season this is, because they're called collections, and on Netflix they're also not in order. So
Netflix rules, dude. It's awesome that this company controls everything.
But it's the one where there's a woman named Val who like wants to always be moving, like she always wants to do aerobics even when she's baking. And what is clear to me, because she like in the first 2 bakes she did not like finish in time. It is clear to me that this woman has had undiagnosed ADHD her whole life. like at first I was like, isn't she a wacky character? And I'm like, I don't know, this is kind of tragic.
Oh God. Overall, yeah, the anime pillar has gotten much stronger and much heavier. It crushes me more and more. I am a slave to it in ways that previous versions of me would blanch in terror to imagine. And at the same time, as its hold on me increases, I've become so crushed by it that I can't even take it in properly and enjoy it in the way that used to bring me joy.
Yeah, I get daunted by the thought of starting a show. Like, do I have to stretch before? I'm like so fucking lazy and stupid now.
Like, dude, before all this, I was like, you know what? One Piece sounds fun. I'm going to read that. And, it's long, but whatever. I'll read it at my own pace, and it's going to be fine. No pressure. Who cares? I'm going to love it. And I did. Woohoo. And now I'm like, I should catch up on Kengan Omega. And that seems like the most difficult, time-consuming. Like, that seems like that's going to, like, shave years off my life to, like, just to even look up what the last chapter I read was makes me want to cry.
You can just power through to the stuff before and just get to the part where the tournament starts, because just like the original series, there's like some political stuff happening with regard to the worm. There's a bunch of guys being like, actually, I'm the worm, and it's very funny. I really like it. I don't want to give anything away, but as you know, the people in the worm have the tattoos, and that's like how they know. There's a good moment where I will not say who. They're like, he doesn't have a worm tattoo. And then he sticks his tongue out and he's got one. And it's like, oh, fuck, he was the worm. That was pretty good.
Okay. How about the gaming pillar, Joe? How's that? Maybe that one will be properly terrified by our squeaky hammer, right? Like definitely that one's not also stronger, right?
It's stronger and dumber because I want card games now, Tom. I want card games. I want to fucking look at the text. I want to manipulate the stack, folks, in Magic. I want to do that. The problem is my gaming affection now for card games and roguelikes, which has always been there. And the reason I like them is because they exist in a permanent present. Like, I can start a roguelike or a game of Magic, and it doesn't matter what happened that day. The only thing that matters is the game from start to finish, and that's it. And roguelikes are the same way. You die, it's over. It was a contained experience. The reason I like that is because it allows me to exist in a time bubble
Yeah.
that other gaming doesn't quite do at the moment. So
nothing that has ever happened is affecting what is happening now, and nothing that happens now will ever have a consequence.
Correct.
It's beautiful.
That second part is key, because the first part could describe gaming in general, but like you got to have both of those.
Now, Joe, here's a fun thing about your card game fixation recently, and correct me if I'm wrong, but this is just my supposition. So my understanding of card games, based on my experience of them, is that like you gotta like put in a lot of effort and like repetition to like learn it and get good, and like only that is when you sort of unlock the key and get the meat at the core of the design. You really get the fun that is inherent in the game that you're trying to get the whole time. Yeah. And are you ever like, I don't see you sticking with one card game long enough to get there. Is that true? Is that just like, is it, are you like Sisyphus in this way?
If we zoom out far enough, yes. I guess everyone is Sisyphus, but yes to your assumption. But I also want to point out that like a huge part of my scumbag roots are like getting Magic cards and playing them. Like you have to understand, like, do I have the Malcolm Gladwell of 1,000 hours on Magic? No. Am I closer to that than I am in other games? Yes. So like in some ways, like my shitty teenage self is like cheering me on.
Okay. I mean, the reason I ask, and here's the thing. Hearing all this card game shit, it's making my tongue wag, because I want to play Twilight Struggle, which is a card-based board game that's very highly regarded, 2 players only, highly competitive and strategic game. That's great. And the only time I've ever played it is against my brother. And what happens is my brother knows every single card in the deck. And like I may as well have not even started playing, because he just murders me. The whether I'm the US or the Soviets, they just go away immediately, because he just is better. And so everyone's like, in order to enjoy Twilight Struggle, you need a dedicated play partner who's experiencing it and learning at the same pace as you. Otherwise, it just won't go. If someone's stronger than you, you're not even playing a game. It's an execution simulator. And so I'm like, oh, damn, Joe's talking about card games. Maybe I'll get Twilight Struggle on Steam. Make him get Twilight Struggle on Steam. We learn Twilight Struggle.
I got to put down creatures. Like, I don't think you... I don't care about this Cold War. Look, I haven't been playing Magic that long, but there's a Gigantosaurus, which is a 5-cost creature that is a 10/10. The reason you can do that is because it needs 5 green mana specifically. But like if you're dealing with a mono green deck, it's a non-issue. So, I want to be clear. I'm still in the tutorial, and this is where I'm at.
Jesus Christ, dude. Fuck. Okay. I mean, for me, the gaming pillar, again, has become much more strong, and I'm dying now. Prior to all this, like, especially prior to the Switch, like, I legitimately was in a point in my life where I'm like, honestly, I've mostly outgrown gaming. Like, I played a ton of games in my youth, but, like, I don't know, it's been, like, over a year since I've really played something intensely. I see these new games coming out, and I don't really have any drive or excitement to, like, try and seek them out. I see, like, the new consoles. I'm like, I don't care. I don't really want those. And it's like, oh, the Wii U has a new Mario. Everyone says it's great. It's called 3D World. And it's like, yeah, okay. I mean, sure, but is that really worth all that money and the time I need to spend to play it? Definitely not. The Switch came around. I'm like, oh, the Switch is cool. I'll buy the Switch and play Breath of the Wild. I'm like, okay, now I'm kind of back into it now. I'll play Slay the Spire while I watch TV. Yeah, that's gaming. Well, buddy, I'm back. I'm in grubby mode. I got a new gaming PC over this quarantine. It's not a good one, to be clear. It was not expensive, but it's better than the one I had before that I had built in 2008 that I just used to play movies that I had downloaded from the internet. So now I can play lots of PC games, and I've played all of them.
It's the best machine to have in your house. It is. It's so nice, and it's hard to get computer parts now in general, so you lucked out.
Yeah, I mean, I got like a graphics card that like couldn't even make 1 Bitcoin. Like, no one wants this shit, but I got it.
Yeah. I think having a capable PC really enables the grubby behavior, because now you just have like this machine that is like it's the gaming machine, but it's also like the entertainment machine, and it just becomes sort of like this single funnel of dopamine.
Yeah. And before I was like, oh, I can't play PC games because my mouse and keyboard are wireless, and I don't want a wired mouse and keyboard because like then I'm gonna be tripping over them as I walk in front of the computer.
Yeah, this is when you gave up on Overwatch because you're like, well, I will not adjust my posture from the couch. I refuse.
Well, it's because, because every once in a while the wireless mouse wouldn't respond right away, and then I die. And I'm not going to play on a fucking gamepad. A FPS on a gamepad? Are you crazy? And so I think the key was that I realized that what I had grown tired of was shooting games, but what I hadn't grown tired of was being a grubby gaming louse. And so I am that now, and I just play everything with the gamepad, and oh no, it's awful. It's sort of the inverse of the anime problem, where it's like there's so much anime I want to consume, but it's too much for my brain to even like the little hole I'm trying to stick the peg in is too small. Whereas with gaming, what I'm trying to stick into the hole is like water, but the problem is like, I can't lift the bottle back up. It just keeps pouring in. Oh no.
Yeah. Well, that's forever now. Like, sucks to be you, but it's good. That also means we can co-op dumb stuff.
For real. Except we never do. We never fucking do. I only ever play single player games. Joe, what about posting?
Everyone's just like insane, and it's like not funny. Like there is so much mental health damage as a result of living in the current moment, not just from posting. I just mean existing in this world currently, as a result of everything that's gone on globally for the past year.
Mm-hmm.
So like the idea of finding someone going wacky online now is like, maybe I disagree with the execution in the way of their going wacky, but I at least like the posts where people are like, I'm screaming into a void. It's all a fake state. We're a shambling corpse. We were born from a dead woman on a dying planet. Like, that's the stuff I like to see, but you can't maintain that.
Yeah. I mean, I think what it is, as you say, like just existing in the world, especially now more than ever, is just a mental health killer. You just get the poison status effect just automatically. And what I think posting is, and what it has always been really, is like a wizard's staff from Lord of the Rings, in that the staff doesn't contain any inherent power in its own way, because otherwise Sauron would be trying to steal them from the wizards. I learned this from watching Lord of the Rings lore videos during my work instead of working. Instead what they do is they take the power that is inherent in the wizards themselves and they focus it into a more concentrated and more powerful version than they could sort of emit fucking default mode. And that's what posting is. And the problem with posting before was like, I can't stop, haha, isn't this awful? I'm logging on, I'm making the psychic damage worse, haha. Now, it's not like a choice that we can make. It's the only way.
Yeah. It's objectively, posting is more of a part of our lives than it was a year ago, which is a disgusting fact to say aloud.
Every one of my family and friends is posts only. They have been post exclusive for a year. If I want to see my buddy, I gotta interact with their posts or Zoom, which I gotta tell you, anyone who's trying to tell you Zoom isn't posting is lying to you. Zoom is a post.
It's LinkedIn.
Yes!
It's LinkedIn.
Oh my God! Oh, now I just feel gross. That makes me ill.
So I had this recent discovery that I think I over-curated my timeline. Like, I was like, you know what? It does me no good to consume specific details of the rot 24/7. Like, I am not using this information to make informed choices. I'm just sitting and experiencing dread. So I curated my timeline so there's a lot less news. And I got to tell you, I might have overdone it because, like, when the Capitol riot happened, not a lot of that came through.
Shit. Fuck. What'd you get instead? What was the TL like?
It's just some jokes, some anime things.
New Way of the House Husband volume coming out. Isn't that funny? You like that?
Yeah, yeah. So that's where I'm at. Have I introduced more news now when that happened? No, I left it exactly the same. I
mean, as someone who still has the news, dude, it sucks shit. Like Maggie Haberman still is like that, dude. She hasn't learned, never will. Like, did all the damage possible.
Like, for the past 4 years, like, she was running around like, I have a big scoop, and it's just like, the president is very upset today. And like, and everyone had to be like, she's the best in the biz. Like, nobody does it like Maggie.
And like, she'd be like, President Trump was screaming today. That was a little loud. And they'd be like, damn, savage. Damn, access journalism is good now if you speak the truth to power like this.
There were so many news stories that were essentially the vibe at the White House, not great. There were so many of them.
It didn't matter. Like, I think, okay, so everyone's hyped. It's Inauguration Day now. That's when we're recording. Everyone's hyped right now on like, oh my God, he's gone. We're back. And there's a lot to say about that.
You should be excited. It's funny because like
he's sad.
Yeah.
You can't post about it.
Yeah. And I also want to, I don't think Trump likes anything. He likes very few things. I do believe he genuinely liked posting. And I think I think this is like the first time someone has taken something away from him meaningfully.
Mm-hmm. Now I'm happy again. Before I was like lukewarm on Inauguration Day, but this is actually good now. But what I was getting at is like all that shit, all the posts, like now that it's done and people are happy, you should actually feel bad that it took until Inauguration Day to get Trump out. Because like what that means is, and this is, we all knew this, but now it's proven, is that all that shit didn't work. Like, keeping the sources anonymous so that you could hear about the vibe next time, it didn't matter. It didn't change nothing. None of those exposés on how, like, the White House is in chaos and aides are like, woof. That didn't change any hearts and minds. That didn't change the course of the administration. They just did what they were wanting to do the whole time, and nothing stood in their way.
It produced a lot of posts where people were like, great scoop.
Yes. God, what a nightmare. Yeah, it's worse than ever.
jobs. Folks, our precarious lives are even more precarious a year out.
Yeah. No, I mean, the longer it goes by, the more clear it is that it's not, the aid isn't not coming because they're just in the process. It's not a whip. It just ain't coming, and this is it. And thus, every day is more precarious than the last, and the mere act of having a stable means of maintaining your life is more and more uncertain. Jobs are just like the most precious gold, and I will lick any boot to maintain my employment at the place where I don't have to go outside. I have the most precious gold that anyone has ever had in the history of time, which is a spreadsheet job. I never knew I would say that, but shit. Oh my God.
Yeah, you have a card that lets you go to the doctor when your tummy hurts too.
Yeah. It's like, you can't complain. You can't complain. What's there to complain about? Because it is truly just, I have checked a box in my stats that makes it so that I know I'm probably going to live. And it's crazy that that's just a power that jobs have now, that they can check that box.
Yeah, the thing that is what I am again and again reckoning with is like, this was already in place and then COVID like sped it up dramatically. And I knew this was sort of in place, but having it happen is another story. And it's just like, fuck. Just knowing that like the deciding factor for like stability through this is that you have a job where you need a VPN in. That's it.
Yeah. This whole thing has really put the lie to accelerationism, I think. Anyone who was an accelerationist before, how can you keep that up now? Because it's very clear. It don't do nothing. It don't work. It accelerated a lot, and things are the same but worse now. It didn't change. It never will.
Yeah. Fuck.
If this doesn't make people and society at large admit that, like, actually the labor that's important is the labor that's real, and this fake office shit is just spinning our wheels on something that really does not actually matter to the overall goal of, like, human survival.
Yeah.
If this isn't making people think that, nothing's gonna.
What I want people to take away from this is that they look back on this past year and they just realize that maybe things aren't going so hot.
Damn, dude.
That's all I want. That's all I want.
You said it. Damn, that's wild. Oh, God. I guess what we're really saying is that the podcast is more relevant than ever. And actually, artistically, we're thriving because we were the geniuses who knew it all. And we're only getting more right.
Yeah. It sucks to be right. It does. I'm sick of it. I wish I could be right about like what cards I'm going to draw.
I will say, I have recently, just today actually, been proven wrong for like one of the only times ever. And again, I'm delighted to have it happen. I hate being right because I'm always right about shit that sucks. I said very early on in the Trump presidency on my live show, The Skewer, which I tried very hard not to do crappy lib humor, but I wasn't radicalized at the beginning, so I may have slipped some shit in there at the beginning, but I got better. But early on, I made a prediction that I believed there are only two ends to a Trump presidency. One, he's impeached and removed from power using the law, which I knew would never happen even then. And I thought the only other way he would leave office is to die in office, whether that is die before the end of the first term or president for life. And hey, I was wrong.
A third thing happened.
Yeah. The third thing I sure didn't think would happen, which is someone beat him in an election. And an even dumber man, but one who doesn't seem as open with his racism.
he's never gonna die. Trump. He won't.
Oh, for sure.
He will live forever.
He's like Link. He's like Link from Zelda. Like, he dies, but he's gonna come back. Like, his spirit is immortal. His body may die. It won't for like a long time. He's gonna live to be like 120. But when it does, he's coming back. Sicko mode, sicko mode, sicko mode. Sicko mode, sicko mode, sicko mode. Sicko mode, sicko mode, sicko mode. Sicko mode, sicko mode, sicko mode.
Look, we just need to do a segment where we talk about Yakuza 7. Like, we're both enamored with this shit.
Yeah.
It's very exciting. It makes me care about JRPGs again. But I'll get burned on that. But for now, I'm riding high.
I mean, like, I've been in quarantine. I talked about how the gaming curse is back upon me. I played Persona 4 and 5 in a row, and was just absolutely addicted to them, staying up till 2 and 3 in the morning every day playing them. Just couldn't stop. And I became the JRPG fiend. Yakuza 7, technically Yakuza Like a Dragon, we're going to call it Yakuza 7. Yakuza 7 is like 5 times better than either of them. It is incredible. It is a masterpiece. It's just one of the best games I've ever played.
It's hysterical how ambitious it is.
Because what does it do, Joe? What's the big twist for those who don't know? What's the difference? What makes it different from the first 6?
Is it just a fucking JRPG? It's just a Dragon Quest game?
Yeah, it didn't used to be. Used to be a real-time brawler.
Yeah, it used to be like a big Sega arcade game that had a great story. Yeah, now it's a JRPG. You have a party you manage.
They learn spells. You get attacks.
There's a job system. Job experience is separate than regular experience. So you got like twice as many bars on every character or going up at any time.
The wealth of bars in this game is something to behold. The number of bars that you can make go up, just like masterpiece. Is it a work of art in video game design? The number of bars.
Job systems are so good because they're like the perfect fiddly thing. Because like you were like, all right, I need to get that skill on Nanba or whatever, and then you're just doing it, and then you start thinking, but like actually, he should be a break dancer. And then you have to go and then you wonder why haven't I progressed at all? It's because I can't stop fiddling with it. But I'm actually like having a very good time. I'm having more fun picking outfits so Adachi can be a foreman and make sure everyone stretches.
He takes out a boombox and leads everyone in stretches. So, okay, the job system. I gotta tell people what the job system is. Not everyone's in the know like us, Joe. So, you know how in RPGs, you get classes? Like, you can be like a red mage or a fighter or a thief. Well, Yakuza 7 takes place in the world, and you can't do that. Instead, you got to do real jobs. And what you do is your entire homeless fucking horde, your weird group of grubby monsters, as a single unit, trundles into Hello Work staffing agency at a full sprint. And
I will never fucking walk in this game. I love walking at full speed through outdoor patio furniture. It's the funniest shit in the world. He's like Kasuga walks like a Terminator if there are chairs in front of him. It is so good.
Anyway, okay, so you go into Hello Work, and you can assign classes to different characters in your party. And, different people have sort of base stats, and they're better suited to certain classes. But anyone can be any class, and each class has its own special slate of skills, 2 of which are permanent. So when you unlock them for that class, they carry over with that character even if they change to a different class. And there are also stat ups that carry over to different classes, so even if you don't carry any skills over, you're carrying just pure numbies. The numbies do go up and they stay up. And the classes are jobs, and they're like they're silly jobs. This is a silly world where like the 3 big jobs that anyone can do right away is you can be a foreman, you can be a musician, or you could be a breakdancer. You know how you get hired at the staffing agency for breakdancing?
You sit down in your little interview and you're like, I want to be a breakdancer, and the person says, I can't stop you. Why are you telling me this?
And you might be thinking like, oh, okay, jobs. Like, do you get paid for them? No, you get paid in knowing skills. You get paid in like, if you learn how to be a bodyguard, your payment is that you learn Haywire Havoc, which allows you to score a guaranteed critical hit.
With a high chance to miss. And folks, it's great for killing the game's equivalent of metal slimes, which are a exquisite homeless person. Is that correct to say?
Yeah, is a grubby little imp called the Invested Vagabond, who only takes 1 damage from every attack, and on his first turn will always run away. So you have to hit him with either criticals or multi-hits really fast.
Yeah, so Bodyguard kicks ass for this. Here's the real reason Bodyguard kicks ass. I made Adachi a bodyguard because he looks good in the suit.
He's huge. Yeah, he's cool.
And it's just like a guy with a sword, and the best move you get, it's like called Reckless Stab or some shit. Anyway, the move is you hold out your katana and then you like walk at them, and then you impale them, and then
to the hilt all the way through. You see it come out.
This motherfucker's dead, and it does damage. And then the downside is it's like takedown from Pokemon, because you take damage when you do it. And the reason you take damage is when you have the guy run through and you've impaled him, he then is like, dick, and he hits you, and then you fall down.
It's so good.
I'm not using another move. Adachi has been getting punched in the face as he's been stabbing people for a solid 10 hours.
Adachi is very high HP, so he can withstand those punches.
He's like made for the skill.
It's so good.
The one thing I was kind of curious about is like, because it's a move where like the other enemy model interacts with it, I was like, what happens when you fight a tiger and you do this move? And the game's like, shut up, asshole, you can't use it. Shut up.
Yeah, not allowed. Yeah, like one of the classes for the women characters is Night Queen, which is a dominatrix, and you want to get some Night Queen skills because it has a fire-based attack that carries over. So you're going to want to unlock that so that your women characters always have a fire skill on hand. And the thing about the Night Queen is that every single one of the abilities up to the fire attack involves like putting a guy's neck in between your thighs and then like crushing it. Mm-hmm. And it's called like Beautiful Vice or something. And if, for example, I don't know how this would happen, but like if, for example, you're at a part of a game where you're fighting a lot of non-human enemies in a row, you don't have a class. That character's just not a person and can't do anything.
Yeah.
Because no one's got necks for you to crush with your beautiful thighs.
Yeah, a frequent theme in this game is you have to fight construction equipment. That would be a bad matchup.
All right, okay. I want to move on to some of the less sort of like nitty-gritty job system details, but before we do that, there are some funny skills that I want to talk about before we move on. One of which, so this game treats getting shot, like all Yakuza games, when someone actually pulls out a gun, it's like, holy shit, my god, like this is getting serious. Like no one uses guns because guns kill you in one shot. And Yakuza fights are more about like establishing dominance than actually killing someone.
Yeah, it's about who says like cooler shit about resolve while they're glowing.
Like if you beat up a bad guy, they're not dead. They're on the ground sort of going huff huff, and they're just like, damn, okay, what you said was right. I'm wrong. You proved that you're right by beating me up. That's the Yakuza way. So when someone pulls out a gun, there's like a very big shift in tone. It's like, oh, you're actually trying to kill me now. Fuck. And when people get shot, like it's a major like exclamation point in the story that like changes everything. Anyway, one of your party members is named Jungi Han, and when Jungi uses his skill Rapid Shot, what he does is he takes out 2 guns and shoots the enemy 1 billion times.
He doesn't even aim. Like, just spraying bullets everywhere. You fight in the street. Like, there are people around you.
Yes, you're gonna shoot 1,000,000 fucking bullets, and it's like Joe. You shoot 1,000,000 bullets. If you go to this skill, if you highlight over it, what does it say? It says damage medium.
But this is also a theme in the Yakuza games because like Kiryu in all the other games is like, I will never kill a man. I will never kill, and like half of his heat actions are like, that guy's dead. That guy's fucking dead. And the one that I can't stop thinking about is like Kiryu is I will never take a life, and yet the knife heat action is he stabs you in the gut with a knife, and then he knees you, so the knife goes into your gut further. But anyway, then you fall over, and then afterwards you stand up, and they say like, you really changed my mind.
Yeah, that's Yakuza, dude. Another Jungi Han skill that just absolutely blows my mind is Banshee Bayonet, which is it's a 2-turn move. The first turn, Jungi Han does something that's very normal that any sort of Korean gangster can do, which is that he becomes fully invisible.
Yeah, but he does like the John Cena thing where he like waves his hand in front of his head and then he disappears.
And then the description of the fucking skill says he disappears, and then from his hidden spot, he attacks with a knife. Joe, can you describe as succinctly as you can what actually happens on the next turn?
When it's Jungi's turn, he reappears a half a block away.
In front of the bad guy.
At which point he does a brisk jog at the enemy in a straight line, and he stabs them twice, and you got to press Y. But here's the thing Tom's leaving out is that it also has a chance to inflict bleeding.
Yes, of course. How could I leave that out? It's a great skill. You want to use that.
Can't. It's actually a pretty good skill for boss fights, which sucks because it means boss fights are the goof zone. Like just absolute stupid shit.
Okay, so let's actually, what is the fucking game about? Let's talk about at a more macro level, and then we can dive back into the minutia later. You are fucking Ichiban, who is the dumbest little boy who ever lived, and I love him. And also, he's perfect. And
he's a himbo.
Yeah, he's a himbo. His motivating factor in life is, I have to be a good homie to everyone who allows it.
Yeah, and that tracks. That like right out of the gate, it explains why he would do every side quest.
Yeah, Kiryu is like a weird, stoic, serious man who has like never had fun in his life. And so like it's like the fact that he's constantly being asked to do ridiculous things and is like, okay, like it's part of the joke. It's not a joke when like a ridiculous circus man goes up to Ichiban and is like, hey dude, you gotta help me with my circus. There's a bear. Oh, the bear got out. You gotta beat my bear up so it'll go back. Like Ichiban's like, yeah dude, I'll do it. Like we're homies. Like you and me share a bond.
He goes on a date with a ghost.
He does. It's so sweet. He really cares.
That's how committed he is.
And like, the Kiryu was always like a lone wolf, and like I have to do this by myself.
Yeah,
I'm the only one who can.
Yeah, so the reason I like Yakuza 7 so much is Kiryu is a lone wolf because he's a character whose life is tragedy, right? So anyone close to him becomes endangered. So that's like his path. Is that
also he doesn't know how to have a conversation. Like if someone was like, "Hey, Kiryu, like what's up?" He'd be like, "Are you trying to talk to me about honor?"
Yes. Conversely, Ichiban is like, well, I want 3 of my boys with me at all times.
Yeah. Dude, he's Luffy. I just figured that out. He's just Luffy. He's just like, the thing I want more than anything is to have homies. And like, that's why he's so hyped about being in the Yakuza, which, to be clear, like all Yakuza games, the first thing you do is leave the Yakuza.
It's so good. It's so funny.
But the thing about the Yakuza that he was interested in at the beginning is like, I get to be part of the family, and my patriarch is such a cool homie, and I get to make him happy. Oh boy, what a life.
All he wants to do is listen to this old man tell stories.
It's so nice. And the old man is George Takei, to be clear. And George Takei, say what you will about his terrible lib posts, he slays it in this role.
Yeah, it's really good.
And so, like, having a new protagonist in a long-running series, it's like, oh, this is a gamble. No, it actually paid off extremely well.
They crushed it.
The best. And also, like, it sells the JRPG genre switch. Because, like, yeah, Ichiban's going to have homies with him constantly. Like, of course he's going to have an adventuring party with him at all times. Why wouldn't he? He'd get lonely otherwise.
Yeah, and the in-game rationale for the JRPG switch is just that, like, when he fights, he just thinks about Dragon Quest. So, like, shut up. Like, it's fine.
So, okay. This is one of the best things that's ever happened. So my wife doesn't really like watching JRPGs as a spectator. That's why I have to stay up late into the night playing them, because I have to wait till she goes to bed to play them, because otherwise she's like, why is this boring shit on my screen? She hates it when two parties are lined up into fucking Red Rover lines and they take turns doing attacks off of a menu and then go back into the line. She thinks it's boring.
Yeah, normal people, when they see that, they see 100 hours of a good time.
Yeah, I mean, it's clearly the most exciting thing in the world. I don't know what's wrong with her, but, no one's perfect. I love her for many other reasons. So one of her big complaints is, like, why do you fucking wait around and let the bad guys have a turn to kick your ass? That's stupid. One of the first things that gets said to Ichiban is his homie in the Yakuza is like, hey, Ichiban, I noticed that in fights, often you clearly could beat the enemy, like, right away, but you, like, let them have a chance, like, you give them a turn to hit you. And he's just like, yeah, I feel like that's what a hero would do, like, from Dragon Quest.
It's just like, yeah. Yes. That's the hand-wavy joke that I need right there.
And also, like, a really subtle change that makes it so much better. Like, it's incalculable how much of an effect this has just on your sort of perception of the fights, is that when you have, a random encounter fight, you don't, like, get transported into, like, a pre-rendered area. It just, like, happens where you are. Like, you're still in the place that you were, except now you're in the JRPG fight with the menus. Mm-hmm. And also, instead of lining up into two lines, everyone's just milling. Everyone's just walking in circles, milling around constantly. And it's such a minor thing. Like, the way that they move is dumber than shit. People are constantly getting, like, stuck on walls. And, like, I'll make Jungi-han, like, shoot someone with a gun, but before he can do that, he has to run into a wall for 10 seconds because he doesn't understand about turning. And it's dumb, but, like, just the mental effect of seeing guys milling around an area rather than two lines over a pre-rendered battle arena is monumental.
It also helps that, like, if you stand in the road, the cars honk at you.
Yes. Also, you can hit someone with an attack that knocks them out, and their ragdoll slides into the street, at which point it gets hit by a car and dragged down the street. And then, this happened to me once, dragged down the street, and then when it gets unhooked from the car, the momentum of the car pushes the ragdoll into the river, and they sink, and the camera goes down. And, yeah, to be clear, Ichiban's never killed anyone.
No, he's never killed anyone, but he did see a guy clip through the earth.
Okay, and another thing about this Yakuza 7 that's so fucking good, not only does it have a new protagonist, but it's a completely new gameplay genre. Oh, is this going to be a hard transition? No, I can't even remember doing the combat before. Like, this feels like how it always was.
It feels like this was the plan from the start somehow.
Yeah, yes.
I like the combat in the original style of the Yakuza games. I like that style, but what I think I really like the most is, like, the cinematic heat actions, which, if you're not familiar, it's like when you hit a guy and he's staggered, you can press a button to, like, do a cinematic takedown that is usually contextual based on the environment around you or whatever. And it's like, they're really fucking cool.
Yeah, it's like a little movie where Kiryu does something fucking badass and really kicks a dude's ass.
It's so cool, and I miss the frequency of doing that. Like, towards the end of a Yakuza game, when you have like tons of heat, you're like doing this shit like on everybody, and it's just like really cool. I miss that. I get a little bit of it from some of the moves, like because many of the skills and spells are very dumb and goofy, but they don't always have like high impact crunch that every heat takedown had.
Yeah, like there are some goofy moves that look like cartoon moves that don't look like they don't look like it's really happening. Like Adachi has the essence of hell wheel skill, where he will sort of sit down and grab a guy's feet and hands and form a wheel with that guy, and he'll start spinning in place like Shaggy and Scooby-Doo when they see a monster and they have to run in place for a bit before they go, and the wheel sort of like deforms like Sonic doing a spin dash, and there's fucking sparks coming up off the ground. The wheel, to be clear, is 2 guys, and then the wheel starts rolling around and hits all the other enemies, and it's like, that was very silly, and I really enjoyed watching that little pre-rendered video of Adachi doing that. But like, I don't feel like anyone actually got hurt because that was fake, because like it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Whereas like a heat takedown is like, Kiryu just curb stomps a guy and you see blood come out of his mouth.
Yeah. Kiryu put a guy's head in a car and slammed the door on it twice in 2 seconds, and it's over now. Okay,
so Joe, do we want to take sort of a high level look at our brains on combat systems, because we could do a jumping off point there, because I'll tell you what, not only do I like the JRPG combat system more from Yakuza 7, but like I legit like didn't get to the part you were talking about where like you're doing well and you're doing lots of heat actions in the originals, because my brain was too dumb to actually ever figure out how to do the combat right, and I was just always getting by the entire game of Yakuza 0 doing the standard combo on rush style, and then the only heat action I used is when you do the standard combo they fall down, and then when they're getting up you can do a heat action where you kick them.
Like, when you play, don't you have, like, this inkling that's like, how can I make this shit cooler and do more damage?
Yeah, but, like, there are combat systems like that, where, and to be clear, when I say like that, what I mean is, combat systems where you have 2 buttons. There's your attack 1 and attack 2, and everything that you can do involves combining them in specific ways. My brain just cannot do it, because essentially what it is you have to learn Morse code. You have to learn Morse code. You have to know like X, Y, X, X, Y does something different from X, X, Y, Y, Y. And you have to memorize that and know when to do X, 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 Y, Y, Y and when to do X, Y, X, Y, X, X. And I will never, I'm not capable of learning that. Like, I knew that I had unlocked new abilities and I looked at them in the menu and I was like, got it. But then when it came to fight, I'm just like, I don't remember how to do that shit. I'm just going to hit him.
Yeah, I have a much easier time with combo strings like that, like in Bayonetta or whatever. Like, I will find out what it is, like what I'm trying to do. I'll like do it 3 times, and then my brain can be like, all right, that string of physical actions is like a function. So like when I want to do that, I will now call that, and it just works like that. It's actually really easy. You should do that.
Fuck you. Fuck you. No, it's not easy. Not easy. The worst example is I got the fucking Pirate Warriors 3 One Piece Dynasty Warriors game where you play as all your One Piece favorites and you fight against hordes of villains and you kick their asses with cool combos. And Joe, if anything could make me like Morse code combat, it would be One Piece. But I couldn't, because what it like, and we talked about this off mic, spoilers, but like we got to the nut of the issue to me, I think, which is, in order to like fucking comprehend what I'm doing on screen in a video game, I need there to be like some sort of feedback that I can rely on to happen every time I press a button. And when you're in these combat systems where you have combos of 2 buttons, and those combos of 2 buttons, the different combinations are meant to have your guy do crazy cinematic battle choreography. What that means is that like I have no fucking clue what my guy is going to do when I hit X and when I hit Y. It could be fucking anything. When I hit X, 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 Y, 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 every time I hit Y, the guy's going to do a different thing. But if I do X, X, Y, Y, X, those 2 times when I hit Y, he's going to do something that's completely different than the 3 things that he did when I hit Y before. And I just like, my brain is just like, well, I don't fucking know. I'm basically playing at random. It's Morse code. And I don't, my brain doesn't work that way in video games. I can't learn Morse code. I need a button to do one thing only, ever. And that's the muscle memory that I work with. Like a fucking Sekiro. Sekiro is the complete polar opposite of this, because you only have one move, and it's swing your sword. And that's the only thing you can do. And you never get a better sword. You never can like, oh, maybe I'll specialize in glaives. No, you have one sword at the beginning, and that's the only sword you get ever. And the only thing you can ever do is swing your sword. And the entire game is just like, you got to learn to swing your sword so fucking well. And that's the muscle memory that like I do pick up, because like I could put Sekiro down, not play it for 10 years and pick it back up, and I would like, it's like riding a bike. Like I know I'd be able to get back to competent within like a couple of hours, because the only thing that you do is press the buttons at the right time. I always know what the buttons are going to do. And it's just like timing. And I've already learned that. The fucking Morse code shit? Fuck that.
So I love switching between the styles in Yakuza 0. Like I love the weaving. I love going from like the beatdown fast boxing mode to regular to beast mode, like on the fly.
The best part about beast mode is that you walk like you have a full diaper.
Yes. And also you don't get stunned because of your diaper. It is a reinforced diaper. Yeah, and like here's the thing. It's easy for me. You have a baby brain.
Yeah, it's true. But if you have a baby brain, if what you said sounded familiar, fucking Yakuza 7, you just pick moves off a fucking menu. There's no time. You can take an hour to pick your move. Everyone's just going to keep milling the entire time.
Yeah, like you can be for sure eating something messy as you play this. Like you don't have to be like really hands-on like the other one.
So one other fucking thing that Yakuza 7 does that is incredible and great and the best thing in all of video games that the Yakuza series is famous for, and I think it does it even better here because Ichiban is such a clownish character but also so sincere. The plot is extremely serious and intricate, like crime drama with high stakes and high drama and high emotions that are not joking. It's very real and it's very straight-faced and is deeply engaging.
A story that's like rooted in like actual global issues with real feelings towards immigration and like immigrants having to live.
It's an insanely pro-sex work game. I mean, like none of the sex workers are characters, but like it's all NPCs. So like you could make a more pro-sex work game, but like there's tons of sex workers, and anytime anyone's mean to them, Ichiban's like, "Hey, they're people too, just doing a job. Why are you on their case?" And it's like you never fucking hear that in a video game.
Yeah, and he throws cum at a guy.
He does throw cum at a guy, a mean guy, and like there's like this the scene at the beginning with, I'm not gonna spoil why he's doing this, but when young Arakawa is punching a locker over and over, dude, did you cry?
I felt sniffly. I definitely cried at the end of 6, which is just like, hey, you've been playing a game with this character for like effectively 100 hours, and now he's 60 years old, and you just got done carrying a baby for most of the game. It's gonna hit.
Yeah. So it's all that, and then like on top of that great story that carries on that tradition, you also have all your party members, and like this is something that's never happened before, that like your main character is constantly hanging out with people who he's constantly growing closer to. So you have these like persona style social links where like the closer you get with them, you can unlock little videos where you learn more about them and like help them with their problems, and it's so good. And like you you discover what is like the big emotional block that's like keeping them from being their best selves, and you help them overcome it through your incredible homie energy. Like, so often they're like, I can't ask you to do this, Ichiban, this is so much, I can't ask you to do this for me. And he's like, come on, what are homies for? It's like when I ask you to help me like drive something somewhere.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm already outside. And the Drink Links is like a fully realized execution of something that I thought was fun in 6, which was a similar thing to Drink Links, but it was in the context of managing a baseball team. And let me tell you, I don't give a shit about baseball. And it wasn't even like you hit dingers. It was like one of those games where you just manage a team. I left that part of 6 untouched, or whatever the default amount is to do it when the game, holds your hand and shows you baseball.
Mm-hmm.
And they're really fun in 7 because they only take place with party members. So they are just less numerous than like the Persona links, but I think they're more meaningful.
Yeah. And also, you don't have that FOMO of Persona where it's like, which link do I go for? Because I only have so many days. You have infinite days in Yakuza. You can do it fucking forever, dude. So there's all that shit, and then there's all these cool personal stories with your favorite homies, and it's great, and it's really affecting and real. And then at the same time, there's just cartoon Looney Tunes shit. Every half hour, some Looney Tunes shit, and it starts doing the blink, 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 down, 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 down.
Help me find my favorite crawfish.
And you have to learn a fucking mission-specific game mechanic for looking at crawfish. It's like a detective mode that never gets used again, specifically for figuring out which crawfish is which. And then you're like, huh? The guy, I thought it was your pet, but you're gonna eat it? Whoa!
Yeah, it has this very nice way of funneling all of the dumb shit that you do into the games in a way that it sticks around. So, for instance, the crawfish stupid shit we just said, that becomes a summon. There's
and the way you summon people is there's an app that's Postmates for beating people up.
It's
called
Poundmates. Folks, it's Poundmates. It's really good. The way he says time to phone a friend and dials with such intensity, it's wonderful. All of the summons are tone perfect. Like, no matter how dumb they are like presented with the Final Fantasy grandiosity. Like,
yes.
So here's the thing about the Yakuza games is like there's going to be a side quest where you have to fight a big man wearing a diaper. They are addicted to this. They can't stop doing it. It's in every fucking game. They love it. So anyway, when you fight the diaper man, inevitably, in 7, you get him as a summon, and his summon is you dial, and then it goes first POV, and it is the perspective.
It's the entertainment from Infinite Jest. There's someone wiggling a rattle in his face.
Yeah, it's like a busty woman rattling a rattle in his face, and then it zooms out, and the huge man in the diaper is there, and folks, he does not like the rattle. So what happens is he starts crying so loud that he performs an attack called Big Baby Blues, which does sonic damage to everyone in the area. This game is fucking stupid. It's so good.
Joe, can I tell you about my favorite summon, which is, have you met the washed-up Korean actor? Used to be a Korean megastar, but he was framed for assault. He actually did assault, like a Harvey Weinstein type, because they were trying to assault his manager, who he cared about, and he didn't want her to get assaulted by a creep. And then the guy was like, you beat me up, your career's over. And he's sort of given up. And you, Ichiban, you're like, oh, god damn, it's a homie. Fuck. What do? I support my homie. So you support him, and you make him learn to have the confidence to try to be an actor again. And then he's like, damn, I'm joining Poundmates. And you're like, how does this guy have abilities that beat people up? Well, here's it, Joe. When you call on this actor, what happens is the game stops, and it starts playing a scene from his latest film where a woman is waiting alone in the cold, looking sad, and then, oh, who's that? Oh, from behind her comes in a beautiful, beautiful, soft light across his handsome face. It's the guy, it's the actor, and his breath is fogging up as he's walking towards her with a gentle smile, and they have a hug, and she says, I love you, and he says, I love you too. And then that's it. And what happens is, because the scene took place in a cold environment, it does ice damage to all enemies.
And ice damage, and lightning damage for that matter, the type coverage is hard, so that's really useful. All the ice moves I have are Namba will throw a bucket of ice at guys, and they will also maybe become afflicted with cold. Cold, by which I mean he has the sniffles as opposed to like a temperature issue.
It's the best. Joe, it's the best shit. And, like, also, you may remember if you follow me on Twitter that I sort of roasted Joe. He talked up the job system so much, and rightly so. It's fucking fun. He talked up the job system a lot, and I'm 12 hours in and I haven't unlocked the job system. Ha ha ha. Look at that, how silly. Japanese games withhold the game from you until you play all the tutorial. But here's the thing. No, actually, I just play Yakuza so fucking slow, because anytime some dumb minigame pops up, I'm like, damn, that's my next 4 hours. Like, you can go to a movie theater that shows old movies, and Ichiban's like, I don't really like watching movies, and also they make me fall asleep. But the owner of the movie theater is like, a lot of teens fall asleep in my movies, and I feel like they don't appreciate classic cinema. And he's like, damn, this guy's my homie now, and I can't let him down, so I'm going to stay awake during the movie. And you have to play a rhythm game where rams, which are little guys in suits with goat heads that wiggle their hands at you, try to shoot Z's at you that make you fall asleep. And you have to play the rhythm game to make the rams go away. But every once in a while, a guy in a chicken hat with cymbals pops up. He's the alarm cock. And you have to make sure you don't hit the alarm cock, because he will hit the cymbals and make you jolt awake. It's the dumbest shit ever, and I love it.
I'm really familiar with like the general wackiness of what Yakuza can do, and this one took me by surprise. Case in point, they put Mario Kart in it. Like the game has Mario Kart.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. Like it's not as good as Mario Kart, but like the fact that they took the Dragon engine and they made a really like serviceable and goofy kart racer in their Japanese Sopranos game, is phenomenal. And rest assured, you can hit dingers at the batting cages, which is like my favorite mini game in all of them. I just love doing it because the music whips.
Yeah. Just game's so fucking good. Joe, this is one of the best games of all time. I'll say it. Like, I'm having such joy with it. And one of the things that is really amazing is, and this is just a thing that only video games can do. A lot of people, a lot of highfalutin essayists will try to talk about, like, video games are their own art form, and they are able to put forth forms of art that no other medium can, that is unique to the genre. They shouldn't be aping cinema. In fact, they should be leaning into the specific things video games can do only. And one of those things is have voice lines get repeated 1,000 times, and they sort of take on a meta arc in your brain, because at first time you're like, oh, dope, that guy's saying that makes sense. And then you're like, oh, they're repeating it. And then you're like, oh my god, this isn't even words anymore. It's like a mantra that's just like, they're basically saying om. And then they get to the point where it's like, my old friend, you're back. We've been through so much.
This is such a issue with JRPGs in general, because like you'll finish a battle and every Japanese game company is like, what will be the one thing everyone says for the rest of the 100 hours. In Adachi's case, if you're playing with him in your party, you just need to know that you're setting up yourself for about 80 hours of hearing him complain about his back.
Yep.
Nanba will say he's itchy forever.
After every single fight, when you transition from battle mode back into normal mode, he will scratch his ass and say, so itchy. Which my wife thought he was saying Soichi, a Japanese name. And this is unrelated, but later on, I won't spoil much, but later on it's revealed that Nanba has a close connection to someone named Shoichi. And when my wife learned about that, she about lost her mind. So she's like, I was right.
Based on that information, I actually thought like maybe that's what he is saying, but I double checked. He's scratching his ass.
So Joe, you haven't unlocked this character. There's like sort of a semi-hidden character. There's like a fucking mini game where you manage a business.
I will never do business.
A business mini game is fun. It's like all these games, they have a business, but you manage a business, and when you get to a certain threshold, the person who like runs the business with you joins the party. Her name is Eri, and she has a unique class that is the clerk, which is she uses office equipment to fucking kill enemies. And she's actually really great. Like, they're really good skills. Like, she fucking jumps into the air and sort of floats. Like she jumps into midair and just sort of floats for a second and then throws a bunch of scissors at a guy, and then they start bleeding. It kicks ass. Also, she has a stapler move where she has like a huge industrial stapler and just staples you a bunch. But here's the thing. She runs up to the person and kneels down, so she's stapling them at crotch level. It's incredible. The point that I'm trying to say is, before every single move that Eri does, ever, she says, I have secrets too.
There's a lot of enemies in this game that are just like, I bet the people I'm fighting don't have any fucking secrets.
It's like, who has secrets? Okay, that guy. She's got some secrets. That lady, though, no secrets. I'm calling it now, no secrets. And she's like, hey, I have secrets too. And then she staples his dick 1,000 times.
Yeah, does that do bleeding damage?
I don't think it does. Maybe. I don't know. I haven't used Eri much recently. Oh, God. Another fucking great voice line. And this is just adding to the goofer mode of that Jungi Han move that we talked about earlier, where he goes invisible and stays invisible for a turn, and then he reappears a half a block away from the enemy and runs directly at their face, and then gives them plenty of time to guard and be aware of him, and then he slices them with a knife.
Yeah, when you're an assassin, you want to run in a straight line so people can shoot your brain or heart.
Yeah. When he is invisible, so that's going to be an entire turn. Everyone else has to go. And then it comes back to him and he gets visible again. While he is invisible, every couple of seconds, he's going to say, in his cool, stoic voice, care for a magic trick? Ichiban is going to be doing some move with his bat where he's hitting a guy so hard that they fall and slide 100 feet. And right in the middle of the animation, care for a magic trick?
We've also left out the part about the Banshee move when he reappears. It's like, it takes too long.
It takes so long.
like the camera.
It always feels like the game is like crashing. And it's like, oh no, he's just doing this.
Yeah, the first time I used it, I thought the game froze because it points at the empty space where he is but currently invisible. And then it feels like 30 minutes goes by and then he reappears.
It's so good. It's so good. We love it.
The game has the perfect amount of jank, which is incredible. The thing that really made me fucking lose my shit is anytime you go out to a restaurant in this game, you pick your menu and then Kasuga says, "Who's hungry?" and then everyone says me like a deranged freak.
Okay, Joe. When I started playing this game, I texted you, if we ever get to go to restaurants again,
I'm doing that for the rest of my life.
Yeah. Who's hungry? And then everyone with a big smile just like points to themselves with their thumbs and goes, me, in unison.
Yeah. So what was happening is I was at a noodle shop with Adachi, and we just got done talking about noodles. And then he's at the table, like we're eating together, right? And then I pan the camera around to look at the front door, in which case Adachi slams into the front window of the store. And it was the funniest thing I've ever seen, because when people walk into walls in Yakuza, they like bounce off of it like it never occurred to them it could happen. Like I was I'm supposed to clip through this.
It's so good. I know we already talked about the movement, but I gotta talk about this, because in this game you can walk, and you walk the slowest anyone has ever walked ever.
It's painful. It's painful.
So you're going to constantly want to be running at full speed. And in Yakuza, anytime you even brush past an NPC character model, there's this hugely over-animated bumping into animation where both you and the NPC, like, get knocked back like 40 feet, and you look like you've been, like, hit by a truck. It's the most over-dramatic, like, just smashed into someone animation ever. And this happens constantly, because when you're running, you can't really turn very well. And there's NPCs everywhere. They're just constantly milling around. And the best part, the fucking best part of all, is that your party is always following you in the game, and they have character models loaded in with collision detection, and their pathing is real stupid. And so a lot of times...
There are crates flying, there are chairs flying, signage outside of restaurants goes flying.
A lot of times you're going to go into a room, do whatever you want to do in the room, and you are going to turn around to run out at top speed. And what you're going to do is, as soon as you turn around, the first step you take, you're going to plow into Nanba at full speed. He's going to go "Bwah!" and get knocked back. As soon as Nanba gets out of the way, you didn't see Adachi was behind him, and you plow into him. He actually gets knocked forwards. You hit him again a second time as you run in a straight line, and then he moves out of the way. And then you get to the door, and Psycho is standing in the door, and you smash into her, and she doesn't move at all because she moved to the left, but then she just hit the door frame, so she's there again. And so you're just running in place against Psycho, and she has no idea what you're trying to do. And she's like, if you're asking me to have any part of this process, I'm just lost. It's the best game ever made.
The party movement's not great. Like, okay, the party movement and walking around a full city with, like, NPCs walking around, it's a little clunky. But in terms of, like, what it does for me, which is just, like, an endless parade of just, like, Three Stooges shit for no reason, it's very good.
Like, polish is good to a point. Polish is good in that, like, this game is so polished that I haven't seen any major graphical bugs, and it's never crashed or frozen or hung up or had frame rate issues.
Oh,
great.
The one shared bug Tom and I both have come across is that on the second floor of, like, a Burger King, there is a child that is, like, floating above the table.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I actually like that. I think that's on purpose because we both had it happen to us. So that has to actually be planned in. That kid can float just in real life. It whips ass. Dude, it's so good. But so polish is good to a point. But if I'm playing a game for 50 hours, I want a steady drip of shit that makes me go ha ha.
Yes.
And like a slick experience where every movement is animated for hyper realistic perfection. I'm not going ha ha at that. And I think this threads the needle between, like, Cyberpunk, which makes you go ha ha, but to the point where the game becomes unplayable. This gives you the ha ha moments in a playable game.
In a wonderfully playable game that has, like, all these fucking systems interlocking beautifully. The thing that I really appreciate from this game, I think, compared to the other Yakuza games, is that all the systems feel like they reinforce each other in this one very well.
Yeah. The best example of this is the fucking job system, dude, because on the very basic level, if you have a job, you have a second meter, and it go up. So you can level up twice, actually, in the same fight, which is incredible. Yeah. And the job systems give you goodies constantly, and the job systems also make you dress in a funny costume. So, like, it gives you the ha-ha moment, and it's just all working together, and it's giving you all these slow drips of accomplishment and meters going up and little rewards. And as you're doing that, as the people are leveling up, you're growing closer to them, you're getting bond with them, and then when you bond with them, then you can have your stories with them, the personal stories, and then that's really exciting. And, of course, in pure Yakuza fashion, like, as much silly goofery as there is, at every single point in the game, there is a shiny pink point on your map where it's like, if you want the Sopranos to start again, you walk here. Like, this is where the real thing happens. And it's the most beautiful thing in the world, because you can play Mario Kart, you can go to the movie theater and try to stay awake through a stupid movie and fight the Rams, And then just like on a whim, you're like, you know what? The plot. And you just walk over and you're just like, ding. You do a couple bits of plot and then you're like, you know what I want to do now? I want to go visit my buddy at the romance workshop and level up my items.
I like that compared to something like open world like Skyrim, because you can kind of get lost with the putzing. And with this, it's just like the next quest for the main story is basically always a block away.
Yeah. It's incredible. It's like the best shit in the world. God. Good game. Good game. I think, you know what? It is a great game, but I think part of what makes it so beautiful is that it's a game that is sort of like eulogizing a world we lost, which is a world where you can walk in a huge group with your homies and go to a restaurant and then play darts. Like, just that you can't do, like, I haven't done that and I miss it so much. And having a game where a really nice, weird, dumb man just does that with his friends and like enjoys his friends and tells them how much he cares about them, and they're like, hey man, thanks. Like, that's
yeah, and it's also like mixed beautifully with like high octane action and just some like really fucking Looney Tunes shit. Like, just like, look, there's a side quest and the gist of it is this. There's a sad girl looking at this persimmon tree, and if this persimmon falls, she's going to die before she gets her surgery. And then,
yeah, she's like, if the persimmon dies, I'm going to lose the will to live. And the doctor's like, you know, it really is down to mindset. If she decides to not fight, she will die. It's like, oh shit, so it's real.
Yeah, so then every time you walk past this, it's like, oh, this sumo wrestler is doing palm strikes against the tree. Oh, this guy is doing ninja kicks at the tree. And you have to just beat up everyone so she can, like, have the will to live. So it's, like, both stupid but also, like, nice.
It's so fucking funny. I love the side quests where you know that it's not done, but you have to leave and come back for the next part to like load in. So like you fucking see that the sumo wrestler is smacking the tree to practice. He's like, this is the strongest tree. It's the only way to practice. And you beat him up and he's like, yeah, I guess I'll find a different tree. And then the persimmon tree is totally alone, unbothered. And you know, like, I'm just going to walk a couple blocks. I'm going to open up the map, and I'm going to see the side quest icons back, and I'm like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, because there's a sniper now. There's a sniper, and he's going to shoot the fucking tree.
And he's not specialized for melee fight, so you can kick his ass if you find out where he's shooting from.
Yeah. It's good. Also, everyone that gets confronted with violence is just, like, not clear why Kasuga is doing this.
So, okay. One thing I do want to mention before we wrap up is I think more than any Yakuza game, I've only played 0 and heard about the others, so maybe I'm wrong. Correct me if I am. This game has so little to do with the Yakuza. Like, when Kiryu stops being a Yakuza in Yakuza 0, it's like in name only. Like, he still is. And like, come on, we know there's only a matter of time before he rejoins.
Yeah, there's a kind of a funny part at the end of 6 where someone was like, aren't you out? And he was like, bitch, I'm never out.
Yeah, it's like, come on. But like, Ichiban like straight up isn't in the Yakuza for most of the game, and also like it's pretty clear like no one wants him back. Like there's no road back to the Yakuza that he's on the path to. He's just a guy. Like when Kiryu says like, I'm not a Yakuza, I'm a civilian, it's like, yeah, right. Ichiban is like straight up a real fucking civilian. And it's hilarious. And in learning about this game, I learned that the subtitle of the English version, Yakuza Like a Dragon, apparently in Japan, it's not called the Yakuza series. It's called the Like a Dragon series, which when you look at it like that makes a lot more fucking sense, doesn't it?
Yeah. So here's the question everyone's going to ask or want to ask. Is Majima in the game?
He is. I don't want to spoil too much. He's in the game. At one point, you go to Sotenbori, and you just like when you hear Ichiban say like, "I guess we got to take a cab to Sotenbori," like my eyes got big because I'm like, "That where Majima live." And then you're walking around and you like see the Grand Cabaret, and you're like, "Holy fuck, that where Majima is." And I'm not gonna spoil much, but something happens with Majima that's really exciting, and it's a big sort of like stop everything and do this moment. It really tests your mastery of the game, and it is not optional, and just really an incredible experience. And the plot reason why it occurs is that Ichiban is invited to a place tomorrow. And he's like, fuck waiting till tomorrow. I'm going to sneak in tonight. And so Majima's like, oh, a fucking intruder. It's so stupid. Everyone's like, Ichiban, wait a day. He's like, nah, you know me. I don't wait days. Oh, fuck. It's good. It's good.
We're the Anime Sickos, and we're here to say anime is bad in a war crimes way.
Holy moly. Thank you for listening to Anime Sickos this week. This is a good episode. I liked it.
Yeah, you should definitely play Yakuza 7. I hope this is not your first game that has a job system. If it is, it's a pretty good one to start.
Yeah.
But just know that, like, you're going to be chasing that dragon forever.
Yeah, like, this is the best one. Like, straight up, like, Persona 5, I was like, damn, this game, this is, like, JRPGs, like, hit the max. This is, like, I love this. It's so good. Everything about it's so stylish and great. What could top it? Yakuza 7 in every single way. Just truly better. There's not a single part of the game that does not blow Persona 5's equivalent out of the water. It's just ridiculous. The best game. Also, Joe, I want to share this little anecdote before we go, especially as we're talking about like reflecting on how the pillars have gotten heavier over the COVID years. My wife was looking for some image that she had sent me long ago. So she was going through all of her old texts to me, looking for this image. And she found an article that she sent to me in March of 2020 that said, coronavirus, you may have to give up 2 weeks of your life to slow the spread. And my response was, my what?
Yeah, we were so lucky. If we were so lucky.
2 weeks is fucking nothing. Oh, God. Anyway, I've been Tom, an anime sicko.
I am Joe, an anime sicko.
We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
See ya.
Thank you for listening to Anime Sickos. I've been Tom, a sicko. You can follow me on Twitter at TomHarrison19. Joe is also a sicko. You can follow him on Twitter at ShariaUncle. You can follow Anime Sickos on Twitter at Anime Sickos, or email us at animesickos@gmail.com. Please leave us a review or something. I don't know. Tell a friend. Anyway, until next time, bye.